It took us a short while to find our way to an open manhole. One that hadn't been buried by some car parked in the middle of the road or rusted closed. We finally found one that, with some jimmying, managed to open up. Down into the sewers below. It was a block or so away, but convenience wasn't really the issue. We were after buried treasure, so putting a little bit of extra footwork in just seemed to come naturally for what we were looking for. All right, one step closer to treasure, Barry said with a smile as we finally got the manhole open. Yeah, you say one more step closer to treasure, I say one step closer to a sewer, Emily replied, still not feeling comfortable. It's so gross. Do we really have to go down there? Like, maybe you two can just go down there and I'll just wait up here for you. Come on, Em. I already told you, the sewers around here haven't been used for hundreds of years. They're all dried up. No poo-poo. The only thing down there is the only thing that you'll see around here. Sand. Yeah, but there was poop once. So I'd prefer not to go, Emily said, shaking her head and putting her arms out, gesturing that she didn't want to. Well, okay, I guess you don't have to go if you really don't want to. Thank goodness, Emily replied, placing her hand on her chest and breathing easy for a moment. But you also don't get a cut. What? Emily replied. No way, that is not fair. I've been going on this ridiculous treasure hunt with you for weeks. I should so get a cut. Three-way split, remember? Yeah, well, three-way split is for even partners, and even partners do even amounts of work. You can't skip out on the most important part of the search and expect to get a cut. But you know what? You're probably right, Emily. It's probably nothing. Just some busted old computer that happens to be in a sewer for some reason. There's nothing odd or suspicious about that at all. So I'm sure that there's nothing of value down there. So you're really not giving up a cut of anything, are you? Barry said, turning away from Emily and walking back towards the manhole where I was standing. Emily couldn't see his face, but I could. The sly smile on his face told me everything I needed to know. He was playing her, and by the disgruntled look on Emily's face, she was going for it. No way do I put in all of the effort and then get cut out at the last minute. Three-way split. We all go. No way I'm giving up my share. I thought to myself, sighing inside of my own head. There's no way Barry would have cut her out. Even if he couldn't convince her to go, she still would have gotten a cut. He just wanted her to go anyways, for his own amusement more than anything. Well, if you two are done sorting that out, are we going to get down there already? The charge on this thing doesn't last all day, you know, I replied, as I started making my way down the ladder. Right behind you, Barry shouted, with a big grin as he followed suit. And of course, the last down the ladder was Emily, who moved much slower than Barry or myself, the whole time muttering a sequence of statements. I couldn't hear most of them, but the ones that I did hear went something like, gross, gross, gross. It's only for a minute, you'll be out soon. So gross, she muttered to herself as she made her way down the ladder, eventually finding her way at the bottom with the rest of us. As we turned on our flashlights and began to look around, what we found was pretty much what we expected. Just the old world sewer system. And just as Barry suggested it would probably be, there was no moisture or water down here. Nothing that you would expect from a functioning sewer system. No, the only thing down here was sand. A startlingly high amount of it. I would have thought there would be less of it since it was underground, but somehow, some way, it found its way down, filling up the midsection, which used to be filled with water, I guess. A channel for it to flow down, but now just held large amounts of sand that ran onto the walkway that was lining the side. And there didn't appear to be any leftover smell, at least not of a typical sewer system. It did smell a little bit stale down here, as if the air was fairly old, but that was to be expected. It is underground. Dry or not, it doesn't get to be much air circulation down here, I thought to myself as I shined the light ahead, looking towards the intersection up ahead, and checking the device that I had affixed to me by a strap. I registered the direction we were heading, and according to the device, the signal was coming from up ahead to the left. "Okay guys, it's this way," I said as I started leading the way there. It took us a few minutes of walking to get around where we were when we initially encountered the signal and where it was the strongest. To be honest, I was surprised I was able to pick it up all the way underground. To be honest, it pointed to more active technology rather than inactive. An inactive power signal, at least from anything typical, probably wouldn't be strong enough to reach the surface. So whatever's down here, if I had to place a guess on it, would most likely be something still working. Or at least that's what I thought to myself as I led the way for Barry and Emily. Strangely enough, after we found our way through the sewer system back to where we initially encountered the signal, we didn't find anything. Once we got back to the location, the device said that the signal was coming from the left of us. So naturally, we went ahead to take the next left turn, figuring that there would most likely be a path that led back. But when we did, the signal still said that the object was to the left. So we continued ahead, finding the next left turn, only to get the same result. "Come on, what's wrong with that thing?" Emily said, sounding very frustrated. "It must be busted. We've went left like 4 times already. In fact, I think we're back where we started." "I know," I replied, looking at the device and checking to make sure it was functioning properly. "Are you sure you put it together right?" Emily said, crossing her arms and looking at me with a disgruntled expression. Her presence in a sewer still wasn't going over well, and she did not feel comfortable here and might be taking it out on me just a bit. "Yes, I'm sure I put it together right. Everything is functioning properly. It's no different from when I used it any of the other times. And remember, I already picked up signals with it before and found objects, old world electronics that were useful. So we've already determined that the device works. The only question is why it's registering a signal somewhere that we can't actually reach." "Well, duh!" Barry shouted as he slapped himself in the forehead. "It's so obvious. I can't believe I didn't think of it until now." I turned around to look at him for a moment. "What are you talking about?" I replied. "Well, isn't it obvious?" Barry shouted. "We keep on taking left turns, and your device keeps on telling us that whatever's giving off the signal is to the left, meaning it's beyond these walls, right? To the left of us." "Yeah, but that's the problem. There's no pathway that leads to the left, at least not soon enough to actually take us to the signal. We seem to just be going around in circles." "Yeah, of course," Barry shouted. "That's because whatever's being held is treasure. And what do you do when you want to protect treasure? You hide it." "Of course, Barry," Emily replied, still sounding perturbed. That's why we're down here in a nasty sewer. Yeah, Barry replied, but sometimes they hide it more than one layer deep. Just because you've already hidden it in one way doesn't mean you can't hide it in another on top of it. What are you talking about, Barry? Emily replied. It's not like there's a sewer under the sewer. No, Barry replied, but there might be some sort of hidden doorway, like some sort of gizmo or contraption that it's hidden away behind. Like one of these walls might be fake or something, and it leads to like some sort of secret storage place in between. That's why the device keeps on picking up a signal to the left, but there's no path leading to it, because the path is secret. Like one of those old world adventure movies that we've seen. You know, the ones that play on Friday nights. Whenever they're searching for treasure, it's always hidden behind some secret passageway that's opened by moving a stone or having a secret key or something. So we just have to find the secret door. Ugh, great. More time shuffling around in the sewer, and now we have to touch nasty sewer walls. Why does it feel like this day keeps getting worse? Emily said, looking down and shaking her head a bit.